大家好，我是 Olive Branch Allen. So a study in 2017 came out looking at the prevalence of NAFLD, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, in adolescents in China, first of its kind. They found that roughly 9% of kids aged 7 to 18 had NAFLD in the 2009 data, and this is throughout China. Fatty liver, once thought to be a disease of older people who drank too much alcohol, was now affecting kids, 1 out of 10 of them. Another study in 2019, which is just before COVID hit, was in the population in Shenyang City, where they found that 25% of the kids had NAFLD. And when they looked into a specific group, the obese children, they had rates of 72% of them. And we all know that after COVID hit, everybody got even worse. So that's a lot of grim news, but there is a silver lining to this video. A study done in 2022 wanted to investigate the effectiveness of PE class for NAFLD and other cardiometabolic risk factors. They had 4 groups. They had a normal PE class, they also had a high-intensity PE class, a low-intensity PE class, and a combination of high and low-intensity PE class. After 6 months of randomized controlled trial of 120 kids, the high-intensity PE class came out on top with improved factors for NAFLD, body composition and body fat, blood lipids like cholesterol, insulin resistance, cardiovascular fitness, upper and lower limb strength when compared to all the other PE classes. The combined high-intensity and low-intensity PE class showed a little less than just the high-intensity PE class, and the low-intensity PE class showed even less difference when compared to the normal PE class. So why is HIT, or high-intensity training, so effective for liver health as well as cardiovascular health? Well, we need to go back into the mechanism of what HIT does to your metabolism. In a healthy metabolic state, your body first intakes glucose in the form of energy, and then it passes through your muscle cells into what's called insulin receptors. That's where the glucose gets channeled through, and then your anaerobic metabolism is actually what processes the glucose into energy. You get a little bit of ATP. There is a byproduct that then enters your mitochondria, which you might remember is your power plant for your cell, and that can go through the aerobic metabolism to generate a lot more ATP. In an unhealthy metabolic state, such as insulin resistance, or you have a fatty liver or type 2 diabetes, you're insulin resistant, meaning the insulin receptors in your cells no longer are available, so they cannot channel the glucose into your cells. So what happens is the excess glucose in your bloodstream then has to get converted to body fat to be stored away. Or if it doesn't, then it lingers in your bloodstream, causing your HbA1c to rise, and that causes diabetes. Or it can actually start to damage your blood vessels and other proteins. With the excess of buildup of fat from all that extra sugar, that can actually get stuck within your liver, causing a fatty liver. And then the rest of your cells in your body are being starved of energy since the glucose can no longer enter in the cells. How HIT helps to reverse this process is that you're actually forcing the body's cells to generate ATP through the anaerobic pathway by inducing it with adrenaline, and that's the key. It turns out that insulin isn't the only thing that helps get glucose into your cells. Adrenaline, which is that same hormone that gets you super strong when you're angry or scared, actually is a much stronger and faster way of pushing glucose into the working cells of your muscles to take action fast. This emergency response, which is essentially the sympathetic nervous system working at its best, is how you are able to survive when a tiger jumps out of the bush and trying to eat you. It's essentially utilizing your energy, extreme bouts of intense action, immediate use. And it's this demand for energy that forces this supply of the glucose, causing a huge cascade of biological processes, including the reintroduction of insulin receptors, as well as the breakdown of fat that can then be transformed to glucose to be utilized. And it's all this that causes the eventual reversal of NAFLD. Okay, so how do you program a HIT routine that you can get all these health benefits from? Well, it's actually much simpler than you think. You can do something simple, any exercise you can choose, but you have to do it in a 100% intensity fashion, like a 100-meter dash. And you want to program it such that you're doing an all-out effort for just 20 seconds, followed by a 40-second rest, and then you just repeat that 1 minute 8 times. So 20 seconds on, 40 seconds off, 20 on, 40 off, etc. And this is a total HIT workout of just 8 minutes. I'm serious, it's really that simple. But it is going to hurt a lot. And it's supposed to hurt because that's the stimulation that you need to drive all those biological processes that I just mentioned above. It takes tremendous energy and effort to drive that glucose back into those cells that have become so dormant and sluggish. My final pointer is to choose an activity that is not going to be too hard on the joints. Because remember, you're going to be doing it at 100% intensity. And so you want to choose something that's a little bit lower impact, like rowing or cycling, even running if your body's already built up to a running form. And the truth is, you don't even really need to go that hard to get those benefits of HIT. You can even choose something simple like playing a game of tag or just running around in the playground. Because as I was growing up when I was a kid, we would be in our break sessions playing tag and just chasing each other like as if we're zombies. And we would come back to our next class being all sweaty and out of breath, and we did it every day and we loved it. So that's it. It pains me to hear that our kids are so unhealthy these days, but the solution is quite simple. It might be very difficult to execute with all the pressures of school work and grades nowadays, but I think we owe it to them at least to keep them healthy. And the same goes for you too. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I'll see you next time.